Good evening, my fellow sim pilots. The F-35 and I, it's been kind of a love-hate relationship this week, but I'm learning where I went wrong, and I'm relearning the F-35. The biggest mistake is I transitioned to this new computer, and it allows me to run MSFS in DirectX 12. So I swore up and down they broke the autopilot, and today was the camel's back kind of thing. The straw that broke the camel's back. Trying to do a live stream with this thing and had it all planned out to get me on my route and do my reading of stuff, and it just wasn't happening. It was all over the place. So I went back and started reading through the manual again because they've changed the autopilot screen. Definitely not the same as when it released. And it's still, I think, very, very buggy. Sometimes stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. Restart it, and then it's working again. But DirectX 12 being set was the biggest problem of all. It has been behaving mostly. Everything else is mostly a problem with me, I think. So again, it's been love and hate, give and take. I absolutely love this aircraft because this is where we're going. Let me turn it down a little bit. If you like engine noise, I get it. After a while, a day of live streaming and flying around, my ears are shot. So I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to turn these things down. Let's imagine we have like a super brand new electric engine. We have a state-of-the-art electric engine. Runs on proto matter from the Macross universe. Not really. Okay, so the reason why I need to get a grip on this plane and learn how to fly it with the Zen is because this is where we're going. As far as the controls of new aircraft moving forward. Okay. So, starting here on out, and they're coming right now, are some VTOL aircraft. So, basically airplanes that can do a vertical takeoff and landing. VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing. I don't know what the difference is between VTOL and STOVL. But the STOVL allows us to do a vertical takeoff and landing and transition. But so do the ones that are coming out. So let's take a look at kind of what I'm talking about. We're moving at 199 knots. I was found out where the VORs were. I've got us dialed into the BRK VOR, the Black Forest VOR. It's 1125, and I don't know how to get the distance reading on that. Oh, there, 11.6. All right. Kind of heading towards it, and then the Colorado Springs Airport is beyond that. But let's say we wanted to touch down by that body of water right in front of us. So I'm going to make the transition over to hover. But we're not in a full hover. Whoops. There we go. So aircraft starting soon are going to be able to do that. And it's not going to cost $1 billion per plane. The gentlemen that are creating it said, the hardest thing is just the math. That's it. The hardest thing was the math to do a lot of these things, to get it to work this way. So we'll be getting, other than the F-35, we have the Volo, but going between point to point with the Volo, going up and down and driving around the block a few times or downtown, not a problem. But if you got to get larger distances, you need to get their lickety split. We're going to have to wait for the Joby and the Archer to show up. Now, forgive me, I don't remember the name of the developer who's going to be bringing those to us. So another thing right there, I'm dialing in my speed. I'm using the right aileron trim to increase speed. We're doing 16 knots. And if I use my left aileron, I'll start slowing down. So that is another big thing that's coming to general aviation, is the ability to control your speed precisely. No more people yelling at you for taxiing too fast. No more frustration. Constantly on the throttle to retain the right taxiing speed. That in itself is worth its weight in gold. Especially if you're an old school flight sim person, I think you know what I mean. You might remember doing, when you were young and didn't know anything, and you were learning your first flight sim lessons, and they were teaching you about taxiing. If you went over the taxiing speed, they'd just restart the mission. You failed. You just failed. And it restarts. And then you got to sit through the briefing again while you're hitting spacebar. And it was just a nightmare. And sometimes it's still a nightmare, kind of controlling your speed. I remember going on rants when I first started doing this. How in the world are we at 2020 and we don't have a button in our cockpit that's just taxi speed? Once you get your airplane started and you're getting going, press a button, taxi speed. And it regulates your whatever, your propeller, to the proper taxi speed. I was thinking, was that just too much to ask? Anyway, this thing can go up to 50 knots in a hover and reverse 25 knots or so. So same with what's coming. I don't know how much speed they're going to give these civilians or certain pilots, how much speed they'll give you to start with. Probably something like this, 50 knots. Because you're going to be doing a lot of inner city activity. Inner city flying. Okay. Got to drop off somebody's kid over here at the high school for their soccer match. Simple as that. In style. Oh my gosh, she got dropped off by an F-35. Oh, too fast backwards. A little hard there. Whoa, easy. Easy. Uh-oh. Oh no. Gotta be careful about that. I toggled it off. I didn't have my brake on. Gotta remember to, one, get your gear down and get your brake on. So, probably killed that kid. I'm sorry about that. Really am, truly. So now let's say we gotta get over, go pick up somebody else across town. We don't have inner-city flight planning and autopilots that can precisely move us within cities yet. And we're going to need it. There is no Bing Map avionics to search the nearest McDonald's from here and plot to it and go. And we're going to need it. There's 500 knots. They're definitely not giving civilians this kind of speed with VTOLs, I think. All right, let's slow down. I think there's a Trader Joe's right around here that everybody loves. There's Amazon, a big Amazon place over where I live. You can see a lot of moving things. Okay, let's go to the power plant right over here. Slow down. I should have set up a spoiler. Because I don't think it wants to go into stover mode until you're under 150. There we go. Any other aircraft, if you point the nose straight at the ground, that's almost certain death. But not here. There's the Humane Society over there. Buildings don't advertise on their rooftops. That's another area of discussion. I'm wondering how much money you can make in advertising with the coming air taxi market. Again, we're going to need precise intercity navigation, or Walmart they're going to have to start advertising and putting some stuff on the top of their buildings so that we can spot them from the air. Think about how much time you're going to have to waste to try to plot something out. Find the nearest Walmart and keep two maps open, or keep a map open while you're flying around that hopefully can track you and to get you to the Walmart. Yeah, so there's so many things that we're going to need. But that was just a related side thing that I wonder if there's a market. How much could you make as an advertising company if you just did all the Walmarts in the United States alone? And got to be the one to go up there and paint Walmart on their rooftops. The only one I've ever seen do it is Ross in Las Vegas. Big, 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 huge letters across the rooftop. Smart. So smart. So this is in full flight mode. Again, this is just like hybrid mode. So I don't want full speed, I want some speed. But I don't want to be in a hover. I want to do more than 50 knots. So this was part of today's live stream. I was talking about the Stanley Hotel, it being Halloween, and I thought I'd go to a spooky place, but it's not, and I don't believe it's haunted in any way. I really don't. It may be, but not like they make it out to be. And it was the inspiration for The Shining, but it wasn't filmed there. And the story about who built it, I think, is far more interesting than The Shining. Their whole family, very interesting. And how they made their money. Oh, the Stanley Steamer, the car. Before there were internal combustion engines. For 24, 25 years or more, the steam automobile was king. And the Stanley Steamer, as I understood, it was one of the kings. They were the king. So that's how they made their money. But that wasn't the only thing. They ended up before doing the Stanley Steamers, they pioneered a photography technique called like a dry printing or dry. Either way, they developed an entirely new photographic system for the industry, which was mostly a wet-based photographic process. They developed the dry process, and they were friends with Eastman of Kodak Eastman. And so they sold it all to Kodak. And that's how they got their seed money. And then they lived near a bicycle shop. And his wife fell off one of the bicycles at the time. She proclaimed she was never going to ride another bicycle. And he said, well, I'm going to create a vehicle then where we can ride together. And so he worked with the people at the bicycle shop, kind of like the Wright brothers, and he created the car in a bunch of different variations of it. Ones with like 12 seats, passenger wagons, huge passenger wagons, all kinds of different models. His brother, who died pretty early, and helped him up. He was the one that actually had the bug for doing the car thing. But once it took off, of course, his brother was right there to help him get it done. But growing up, and right when they were doing the photography thing, creating their dry technique, his brother also patented the airbrush. So these guys were complete inventors, and then money coming in everywhere. So what ended up getting Mr. Stanley, the one that created the Stanley Hotel out to California, is he found out he had tuberculosis. They wouldn't have liked this in the real world, but now I can't go into a hover. You see how much fuel I have? So I'm going to start dumping fuel. Ooh, right over a school. Ooh, that's gonna get me in trouble. I don't like this hotel over here. Actually, here's like an industrial zone. Perfect spot. All this dirt. Yeah, they won't mind a bit. This is all DOD area, pretty much. Some of this stuff, Martin Marietta. So, I guess you deserve a little bit of stuff dumped on you. Yeah, did I bump the throttle? I surely did. Taking a sweet time. Come on, dump that fuel a little bit faster. There we go. We've dumped enough fuel, turn it off. There we go. Now we can go back into hover. So I'm wondering it down the road, you know, when this stuff, let's say, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, maybe not that long at all, where this kind of flying becomes the everyday. And these VTOLs that are coming out also have a technology that isn't even on this thing. Soft landing technology. So when you're coming in for a landing and you get near your spot, I don't know if it's going to be a button you push, kind of like auto parking, but soft landing technology. They've got another thing, I guess, he said it's not exactly like an autopilot, but it kind of is. And I'm wondering if that's kind of like more what I'm thinking about, where you can tell it to go to a certain place, plot on a map, maybe like Lowe's or Home Depot, and it'll calculate its trajectory there and pick the best speeds to it, and it works with G-forces. So as opposed to just calculating it based on vertical speed, blah, 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 it calculates it all to the point as it's moving forward in G's. It wants you to have the most cush ride and experience to that spot. And then it stops you and allows you to go into, to adjust to put it down for a manual landing with safe landing tech. That was pretty smooth. Okay. So back up in the air. Under the wires. And up we go. All right, back to the autopilot, which has been giving me bits. Okay, autopilot on. Heading 175. Heading select. Good. Good, good, good. Altitude 10,000. Come on. Come on. Sometimes if it tilts too hard, you know how like in a general aviation, your autopilot will turn off? This thing will turn off on you. 7. So at that angle, it's turning off. Okay. So at 170, gotta go up to 10 first. And I want a speed of 250. Why it's got this turn in there? Why it wants to turn so hard? What are you doing? But I mean, she can be very buggy. Like right now, it doesn't seem like she doesn't want to use heading hold at all. Now heading hold's bunged again. But when I started, it was happening earlier. So, which really sucks. Sometimes you just got to restart the thing. So as soon as I reloaded in last time, that was the first thing I checked, is the heading hold, and it was working just fine. So Springs. How are your flying activities going? Hopefully everything's going good for you. What are you practicing lately? What have you been doing? What's your favorite thing to do? Are you going to get 2024? Are you looking forward to VTOL technology? Or, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about the coming flying technology being like this? And how much you've had to learn over the years, although it being entirely wonderful, learning as much as you know about aviation and flying all types of different types of aircraft, but then projecting out 50 years plus, well, unless you're a total enthusiast 50 years out, everything that we've learned up to this point is kind of out the window. It's all about understanding this, and then it's going to even get simpler, more simple. We haven't even added AI into this equation yet. We haven't added in voice communications. Your chat GPT. Flight and the navigator stuff. All right, let's see if this thing will do a heading hold now. Oh, one of the other things this thing can do. The Archer, the VTOL that's coming out. Let me get over this little bump in the runway. The Archer that's coming out, you don't have to do takeoff and landings, vertical takeoff and landings, if you don't want to. The Archer is both. It's a hybrid, and you can fly it like an aircraft. Okay. Let me take this thing out of hover. Easy, easy. All right. I think you have to have the brake on for this to start. Oh, really? What's up now? Maybe you do need it. Let's see. Yeah, I guess you do need it. There you go. So I guess you have to have it in this mode. Auto takeoff. And then all you're supposed to do is push the throttle. And release the brake. And it's going to get us in the air as fast as it can. We only went like 30 feet. Or so it seemed. That was fast. Alright, let's see if this thing's working. Turn off the stove. Lift the gear. We're here to autopilot. Let's get our speed set. And I don't know if these are supposed to be on holds or not. Set this to 090. And altitude 09. Alright, come back out here and turn on the autopilot. Why, you son of a gun. Try heading again. Now it's ignoring our heading hold. Yeah, it was working beautifully a little while ago. What changes in here that causes this thing to stop doing heading holds properly? It's not using the CDI stuff at all. Alright, it's responding to a speed change, I think. Still coming down to 9, but heading, nothing. Yeah, what happened there? See that? Now it just all of a sudden starts moving us to 90, but there's nothing. I mean, it's set, but it's still open. So what factors? I don't know. It's not like we were going super fast. Let's try it again. Oh, 4.5. Okay, now it's working. But what? Why all of a sudden now? What's the difference? So earlier we did find out that she does do. You can set up a weight plan and you can have it move between waypoints. It's not like your Garmin at all. But it's not too dissimilar Got to keep an eye on it. But I will show you. Do a lot of points in between here and there. This thing, the way it makes points, silly. No, it's going to be a little rough. The new flight planner in 2024, once you create a ribbon like in SkyVector, you'll be able to click and drag your points around. Thank goodness. Man, that's going to be wonderful. All right, so we've got a good number of waypoints in here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 waypoints. Have a sip of coffee while waiting. Cheers. Cheers, my fellow sim pilots. Some of you are real world pilots. I have to really raise my mug to you folks. Huevos of steel. Huevos like steel. But I'm a woman. Huevos like steel. It is one thing to sit here and try to learn it in the simulator, but even any flying for real, whoa. How people do this and have the kind of confidence to just, yeah, no, I can do this. That's a special type of mutant. Okay. Our route. You didn't know these are 4 separate screens, and you can customize every single one of these the way you want to display the information you want. They're all basically, it's just 4 screens. If you were to click on in the upper left-hand corner of all of these, you go back to the main menu of every screen. And then you pick what you want to see in this particular screen. Okay, so we had the engines on this one, but actually I want the engines over here. I think this one, like, fuel is always supposed to be, or one of them is always supposed to be up, but fuel is usually over here, and I like using this for my autopilot, but that one is triggered by this. Autopilot's, that menu is triggered by that button. So, our engines. No. It'll be cool if we end up getting weapons, but don't get me started on that one, I suppose. Where's the one now with my engines underneath me? Engines. No, it's not. Oh my gosh. Come on, man. And then if you see these little two menus down here, these are customizable too. To like use full screen or add, you know, you can turn two screens into one screen. I think there's a way to make all of these one screen. There we go. FCS, this mode. I can see this. Okay, so the routes. Hey, you. Dang, she's fast. Taking off. Didn't even get the gear up. Okay. Routes, routes, routes. Let's get our speed manageable. Now there's no throttle. Sorry. Ugh. Well, that's why this is a practice. I had the throttle down. If you end up coming in here and you're one of the folks that produces Microsoft Flight Simulator videos, you're one of the bigger folks stopping in to check on me, which I appreciate it. You folks rock. You make the best videos. Just the best. So impressed all the time, every time I watch your stuff. That's some skill, man. Easy, easy, easy. Brake, brake, throttle off. Come on. Easy. Okay. I think before we move, let me go ahead and do the gear now. Okay, we're going to need route hold. Son of a bitch. So as soon as you click that, something changed. So I don't know if it takes it out of autopilot or what, but down we came. So there are some things you're going to have to practice with this thing to get all zen with it. I think once you get it, though, I mean, flying around, all the other things you've seen me do, that's going to be child's play for you. It's just these little quirks and ticks the way things work. So your routes, okay, they're listed right here. It's on this screen here, but it's going to be listed right here. But to cycle through your waypoints, if you do click on that, you get these up and down arrows. And if you see me click on these arrows now, I'm not sure which one is which, but we'll start here. Okay, so that takes us back to where we're where we started from our spawn. So the down arrow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're at the destination. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 7. Come on. 7. Doesn't want to go below 7. What are you doing? Come on. 8, 7. I don't know why it doesn't want to go back from 7. That's strange. Well, I guess we're going to start with 7. So to see the route, yeah, it's truncated everything over there. Let's restart. Yep. Yeah, I was working fine earlier. That's all I can say is this thing has a mind of its own. And it's October. And we're nearing Halloween, and that doesn't make it any easier. Okay, so looking at the route again. See, there's route custom 1. 2, go back to 1. 3, 1. Okay. So, and if you look at the VFR map, see that's route 1. If I move it to 2, it should highlight the next area in pink. There's, come on. There's 4. Yeah, it's cutting it off. So I think that's something in options where it truncates it. And that's why it's doing that. All right, well, we'll leave it at 2. Set route hold now. Speed 180 to we at here 6,150. It's got to be 071. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. Forward, backward, side to side, do-si-do. Swing your partner round and round. Okay. Transitioning, giving it a little bit of throttle. Cross our fingers. And on the autopilot. And right there, son of a... It's throwing us into the ground. Okay. Speed hold. Alt select. Route hold. Try it again. It's putting us into the ground. Got a mind of our own. Give us some light here. This is just too hard. So, you know, again, you just can't expect it to do what you want, the way you want it, I guess. Okay, 160 knots, rod hold, speed select, altitude select, autopilot. Oh man, she's just a pill. Maybe she needs to be established in forward flight more. I don't know. We'll give it a shot. We'll see if that works. I see you're in Colorado Springs. My affiliation is with the United States Air Force Academy. Any affiliation to the United States Air Force Academy. None whatsoever. And I regret that. Because when I was a kid, I did want to join the Air Force. And then you get to a certain age where you start becoming rebellious and hanging out with the wrong crowd. And the next thing you know, you're not following your dreams anymore. Why not you're following somebody else's? And I ended up not going. And look at the way I'm flying. Who would take me? Can't even figure this simulator out. So we'll take it around. We'll take it a spin around the block, and we'll try to get it stabilized and at least flying. And then we'll see about trying to get it to get onto a route. Okay, don't want to go full throttle, but let's give it some throttle this time. And she drops, but I don't know if that's because I didn't have the gear up. I don't think any flaps are up, but let me go ahead and check that. Okay, just 250 knots. Let me slow down. This thing is supposed to have an emergency leveler feature or something like that, like this thing. Auto recovery switch. Which is supposed to just straighten your rear end out and just get you flying straight and level. Try that again. Throw it towards the ground. Auto recovery. Cool. Okay. Alright, let's try this again from the top. Come on, you. Let's start with heading and see if you can do a heading hold. Climbing. Stay here. Stay right there. Okay. Try to get the speed level to where it's not up or down. 279 knots. Okay. Do heading. We're going 150, so 90. And turn on the autopilot. That's all we want you to do. Just turn. A little while ago, I don't know what it was. It just all of a sudden kicked in. So, I don't know. It should be immediately kicking in. We shouldn't have any problem. We're not going too fast. We're not going too slow. Turn on route hold. Oh, jeez. If it'll do an alt hold, or that may have thrown us out of autopilot. If it moves too violently in any direction, it toggles off the autopilot. Right now, she's staying on. It's turning to 90. See if she straightens out. She's down below 9,000 now. And I asked it to do an alt hold. And it's off again. You son of a gun. And then it's breezing past 90. Now it's like stuck in this attitude hold. Oh, folks, this plane. And when it works, it works. Okay. Going for 9,000. Are you on? You're on. Looks like it's going to take our speed command. Slows down to 180. Okay, it says we're at custom waypoint 6. 5, 4, 3, 4. So let's go with 4. Route hold. Son of a gun. So the problem earlier with it all was DirectX 12. And then I switched it over to DirectX 12. And if you watch my earlier live stream, it was all working beautifully. And then it just breaks. So if you want to stick around, cool. I'm going to keep trying, but what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to restart the whole damn simulator. It frustrates me to no end. I love this vehicle so much. And pulling teeth, man. Pulling teeth. But yeah. Good time to get a cup of coffee. Oh. Picked up SimBrief again, got SimBrief installed. I've been messing with the airliners and learning how to get the traditional way of just importing your SimBrief plan, generate it, import it, load it, and do it that way. Was messing with the A310 and how to load a flight plan using the MCDU and the 310. Importing using the flight pad, but I'm not getting a Navigraph subscription. Man, even on these live streams or shows, like some guys I watch and they're like, cha-ching, hey, you've donated $20. Hey, that guy just donated $15. These guys are just getting donations left and right. I'd be lucky to get $5 in a blue moon. So yeah, I'm not affording any of the good stuff. That would be nice. Oh, by the way, unlike some people, if you are, some people are very mean about once they get sponsored or once they have, and normally once they get sponsored, people can become mean in this community. And you'll see things when you go into their channel and you're watching one of their live streams. It's like, don't you dare advertise anything for yourself in this channel, in this chat channel. So you can't say, hey, when you're done watching Kitty's crash this F-35 because he's incompetent, come over and check me out. I'm going to do a live stream at the top of the hour over on my channel, and here's my URL. I don't mind if you do that at all. As a matter of fact, until I get a sponsor and become big, and then I kick everybody to the curb. I don't care. Use the chat room to say hello, subscribe to me, and you know, then I don't care. That'd be nice if you did. I'm not even going to require that you do. But if you're doing something and you want to advertise your channel, please go right ahead. You mentioned the United States Air Force Academy. I'll spawn over there at the airport, their training facility here, just north of town. Here it is, right here. Put us here. Well, let's put us in the parking lot so you can see that. It's pretty far away, actually. The airport here. It's great gliding. If you're into gliding, this is supposed to be a really, 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 really good area for gliding over the United States Air Force Academy, their field. But the stadium is probably several miles away, and then the United States Air Force Academy grounds itself is, you know, another half dozen miles away. So you can't just like look from here and see all the good stuff. You got to go north a little bit. Oh, you're kidding me. Please tell me that flight simulator crap hasn't been up this whole time. Son of a bitch. Pardon my language. I'm going to have to... Oh, my God. That's been up the entire time. The Microsoft Flight Simulator logo. That's par for the course. And nobody said anything. Thanks for not saying anything. How come you got the Microsoft Flight Simulator logo up for 20 minutes? How long have you been doing this show? An hour? It's been up for an hour? Insane. Oh, here we didn't plan a route. Oh, God, be something. I don't know. There's no, as far as I know, there's no way to plan a route unless you get an add-on. And I guess there is an add-on you can get that while you're in a flight game, the flight world, that you can pull it up and create a flight plan for any aircraft or something like that. I've seen something like that, but I don't have it. Man. So I'm going to have to cut out the first hour of this now. What are you doing this weekend? Anything fun? Tomorrow is the fly-in. Are you going to be doing the fly-in? I wanted to find someplace haunted to fly tomorrow. Like Waverly Hills Sanitarium or something. I was trying to search for just like the most haunted landscapes. And I'm really not finding any. Like the most haunted mountain in the United States, or, you know, something. It's a plot of land, not necessarily a building. And I really can't find any. behaving. And not doing heading hold. I went back and then I didn't commit and didn't turn the thing off. Or we did, and I'm just that stony tonight. It's been one of those days. It's been one of those weeks, man. I was so mad the other day after doing the partner live stream. All the partners so far have had an opportunity to display up to 3 aircraft. And so in the partner stream, I made a bad assumption. And that being that one of the partners that was going to be interviewed, one of their top 3 aircraft that they're offering, they claim the first working, they use the word working, the first working weapons for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And so they were supposed to go last. And the first guys, in the first interview that was done like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, that guy got to display all 3 aircraft. Then this live stream, 2 of the developers got to display 2 to 3 aircraft each. And then the third group that have the aircraft that can do weapons, they got to display 1 aircraft. And then Jorg cuts in and ended the show. And I was so hyped that I believe they were going to announce that finally it was the day, because Jorg's been kind of talking, well, I'm going to give people the tools to do what they want. I don't really like the idea of combat in the simulator, but I'm going to give people the tools to do what they want. And so I figured this was going to be it. This was going to be the day that they announced that they're going to go ahead and allow weapons, at least for practice. But nope. And it was just dumb of me to get so excited and assume. And that was a real drag. We'll have to check and get back in there just to double check to make sure that DirectX 12 didn't toggle back on or something. Because that was the big problem earlier. No, DirectX 11. come on. What the hell? Ugh. I don't know why I'm hearing that's what friends are for. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling. Keep shining. Knowing you can't always count. You know, that one. Off for sure. That's what friends are for. It's your spirit. It's uplifting me. Okay, normally 120 is kind of lift off speed. Come on, up, 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 beast. Just want you to do route hold. Route 1. Nope. Let's go to route 2. That's it. It's the route. But I didn't have to do that earlier. So again, I don't know. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you gotta figure something else out. Okay, let's see if we can go back, or let's just move on to the next waypoint. 3, 4. Okay, good. But it's still climbing. She's not doing the alt hold. Oh, 15.4. Okay, let's go back to 090. So that was it. Okay, so when in doubt, check your CDI over here. Okay, let's go to VOR. See if we can. Uh, 1125. There we go. There's the Black Forest VOR. 27 miles north. So 60. Aren't you taking it? Now it's not taking my... Son of a gun. Try plugging it in over here. Heading. Now it's not taking our headings. Now it is. See? Now it's just working. Okay, turn heading off, back to route hold. Good. Holding down 1,000 feet. Or not. Yeah, it is. And holding, let's come down to 250 knots. Good. Okay. So everything seems to be working. If you're in the military navigation, she's got the take-ans. You can do your take-an here. Here's your band. X and Y. And I guess there's a tool out there that you can convert VOR to take-an. And you can also use this for ILS. I know in the past I have done an ILS with this thing, but I really don't see why you would really need to yet, because you can just land this in VTOL. Good, so it's moving on to the next waypoint. Good, Beastie, you're behaving. That's wonderful, thank you. You need to show people how amazing you are and how easy you are to operate. She sure is a good looking plane. Kind of vehicle every American dad needs to own, should own. Okay, can we go back to any earlier waypoints? Or is it truncating them all still? Yeah, they're gone. Once they're gone, they're gone. I still think there is something about that. I think I've seen that somewhere where you can toggle that on or off, but right now I don't recall. Or maybe it's been that way and I'm just remembering wrong. But you would think, for mission's sake, for doing missions, you need to have access to all your waypoints no matter what. You need to go back to one. You need to go back to one. Trying to get the thing to slow down now. I've turned off the autopilot. As you see, it's not on, but now it doesn't seem to want to respond to my throttle. Turn all these off. That one won't turn off. There, now it's starting to respond. Now it's decreasing. I'm not sure what speed it has to get to. Usually, there it goes. So around 200, and then it finally kicks in. Isn't that lovely, the way that you just pointed at the ground? And she just won't fall. Looks a little bit like a ghost town. I have all the air traffic turned off, and all the ground stuff turned off, and all the workers turned off. Earlier in the live stream, we were nowhere near airports, so there's just no need. Welcome to one of the creepiest airports in the United States. Might as well bring this up since we're doing the kind of like the Halloween theme. This is a creepy ass airport. This is creepy. So when you first come in, I don't know if you can see him. Maybe we could fly over there with the entryway. But there's this giant blue horse with flaming red eyes. It's a giant horse sculpture, and it killed the sculptor while he was creating it. Maybe he was sacrificed. The murals in this place are enough to kind of give one nightmares. You know, in the old Stapleton Airport too, now that I think about it, they demolished it. It was in downtown Denver, and that was the international airport for the longest time. They had creepy murals too. Like genocide murals and stuff. People wearing gas masks and children and dead bodies everywhere and skulls, and this place has got some of those, and then it's got tiles, just different tiles around the place that are kind of creepy. Then it's got all this Masonic stuff all over the place. Then they got a talking gargoyle that jokes about this place being an Illuminati headquarters and all the underground facilities that... So they really play up the conspiracy aspect of it. But it's reported to be super strange in the lower levels of this place. So who knows? But it's creepy. Looks amazing. It's kind of a marvel. They got this wonderful building over here, this hotel that they built. You know what I mean? Look at the cars. Even the cars here are creepy. See what I mean? Ghost cars in the sky. What happened? I hit something. Oh, what a drag. I hit something. I didn't think that anything was... No, I thought I had that cleared. Well, again, at least we had one demonstration where everything seemed to be working mostly okay. That one wasn't so bad. I need to take a quick break. If you know what I mean, be right back. Earlier, she was driving off. She's doing it now. She's driving off the runway. She's going to crash in that building over there. I don't know what it is. See what I mean? This thing's even buggy this way. It can't even do the loading screen taxi right. It did this at K-Fly and it ended up mounting a house. Now it wants to go mount this building over here. It's not even loaded. We didn't even hit fly. That's the loading screen. India, Fox, Echo. WTF. I'll take responsibility for the things that I do wrong or don't understand. But come on, now that right there, I had nothing to do with that. I've seen some aircraft do that before, so they're not the only ones that it happens to. And I don't know if that's a result of something wrong with their craft or something just interfacing with the environment. It just goes off the deep end. long will it take us to slow down? 400. I need to get a spoiler hooked up. 400. 300. Around 200, I said. $200, 270, 30. There it is. So you've got to have it. You've got to click off way out. So let's do that again. Aim towards the airport. $350. 400. Let's go out and let's figure out a spoiler. We need to see if we can slow ourselves down. Oh, we had one set. Spoiler, we do. $490, 500. Dang. 530. 540. Okay. So no throttle. Spoiler. No. Or this thing doesn't have one. See if it has a speed brake, but usually the speed brake and the spoiler are exact, you know, but we'll see. Okay, so it's not a thing. Okay, so I don't see it. It would have to be spoiler, but I'm probably gonna pass out. Uh-oh. Come on, throttle. I don't think she has flaps. Turn on the flaps. So you can throw the nose up and bleed off a lot of speed that way. caution for? FCS degraded? What? Looks like somebody's got their own little dirt track down there. This hospital would have a helipad. At the back of the building. Boy, I hope 2024 is much improved. You know, stuff like that. I mean, it's a simulator, you know? That's been the excuse this whole time that, and you know, it's not about sightseeing, it's about learning to fly. But moving forward, those days are gone too. We want to see some Christmas down here. Oh, we were down without our gear. Must have the terrain up to stupid levels. Yeah, no wonder. Getting really bad FPS. Better. So what is this saying? It is saying FCS degraded. FCS degraded. Do you know what that means? Pikes Peak, 14,110 feet. So weird, it looks so majestic. It just gives the good angles from down in Colorado Springs. It looks like just like one mountain, and again, it looks just so majestic. And then when you see it up here, it's just so different. I wonder if there's actually any roads to these. There's got to be. But that's got to be cool. Yeah, you can come in from over there. There's got to be some interesting fishing here. Jane's Addiction coming down the mountain. That's what you do, coming down this mountain into Colorado Springs. The road from Woodland Park. You literally are coming straight down. Sorry, I'm flying left-handed tonight. Go and switch things around. Back to right. Okay, see what I mean about Pikes Peak from this perspective? Let me get into the remote again. Alright, so when you see Pikes Peak from this point of view, and the further back you go, you know, you get a much better view of it from the elevation. But it looks like just one giant peak. So from up there, yeah, things were really, really different looking. So again, the reason why I'm practicing these and becoming familiar with learning how to control this type of aircraft is because this is what's coming. We were just given a demonstration of 3 aircraft that are coming that operate this way. One of them is a personal vehicle, which is very much like a land speeder from Star Wars. The second one is a 4-seater that has these capabilities and more. And the third one is like a minivan. Or bigger. A little bit bigger, I think. But I just think minivan. So it's got a beefier engine. It can operate as a plane or a vertical takeoff and landing. Whatever you prefer. And it's got a much beefier battery, which will allow you to do longer cross countries. So that's why I have been this week wanting to fly this thing and getting back into learning how to fly this thing. Because that's coming. And I've been saying, as we move forward in time, from this point forward, I think all the big boys are going to adopt it. I don't think they have a choice. So tonight, in the live stream, I talked about the Stanley Hotel and the Stanley steamer. So Mr. Stanley and his brother created the first steam cars, real, big ones. Or, they made their millions that way. And 24 years later, the introduction of the gas engine, it was already being developed, but things took a long time back then. And so for the internal combustion engine really to get, the R&D and everything and figure it all out, it took 24 years. So they controlled the market for that whole time. But then they lost it all. I mean, they sold it, but there came a time where nobody wanted the steam car anymore. And it was also, I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy, but they encouraged people across the United States to buy. A Stanley steamer would cost you, back then, we're talking 1890, 1901, 1902, up to 1904. $3,500 in 1904 for one of the Stanley steamers. Now, these things could go off-road and up mountains. So, they weren't shabby. But, again, nobody drives a steam car today. So, the internal combustion engine won the day. But again, certain technologies, they're just, you either change. So the people that they sold all their patents to for the design of their vehicles and the way that they built them, those people that had the patents that bought their stuff, they ended up splitting off and having their own companies and just going to internal combustion engines with. And they did all right. Nobody really buys Locomobile anymore. So I think Cessna, to think that Cessna or any airplane manufacturer up to this point that has had a long lifespan for the last 50 years, if they don't, they're done, I think. They're done. What is the point of sticking with traditional aircraft when anybody who's going to be running a VTOL taxi service, VTOL delivery, VTOL DoorDash, VTOL anything, and they're not going to cost $1 billion. because again, they've got to be affordable enough to be used as taxi. You can't have something cost millions of dollars for a taxi. And they're just saying now the hardest thing is the math. Not that the capabilities or the systems aren't there to do what it needs to do. It's just the math. So hopefully we see a large competitive market happen again, because the big boys have, because they're secure, and then they have kept this so expensive and so out of the hands of normal people. And then everything that you're required to learn and know how to do. So we've been hearing Jorg Newman, the head of development for Asobo, talk about he's been talking with the FAA and all the airline developers, and he's had an open communication with everybody to get stuff done for MSFS. But in their discussions when they hang out, there's this notion going around that, or fear going around, that at the rate things are going, because they have always kept it so expensive and it's hard to get into, that they've created a situation now where they're saying in this next 20 years, they won't have enough people that are qualified to fly and handle the infrastructure. But when stuff like this is coming, it seems to, in some way, address their problem. You're close to my house. So I think since I was a little kid, this is what I've been waiting for. All the years that I've been doing this flight simulator and trying different aircraft and getting into the military aircraft, I was looking for this kind of experience. And everything in general aviation, the mantra is it's all what. Now I'm blowing the mantra. Everything carries up. So if you learn how to fly a Cessna and understand the basics of a Cessna, moving up to another plane similar to a Cessna might take you a little time sitting there, but basically the controls are the same. Okay, so even when moving to like multi-propeller aircraft, multi-engine aircraft, okay, they're not that different. So you're dealing with two engines, but everything in the cockpit is mostly the same. And that goes with any aircraft that you get into. Everything carries up, and you're able to move from one aircraft to the other and another, and again, just learn what's different about them. But other than that, overall, everything is, operates the same. So then when I first got into the first time exploring military aircraft, I thought, well, everything will translate up. No. They're too foreign. They're too alien. And, it makes me wonder if we got our technology, aircraft technology, from other nations to start. I mean, because it's so different. It's so not American thinking to me. And I don't know if it was designed to be complicated by design so that your average fool can't translate immediately up. You've got to learn everything. Got to learn the way it operates. But to me, that's a big waste of time. You got the training involved. Just more and more and more training to learn how your aircraft operates. And actually, all the functions are there. It's just everything is labeled differently. Terminologies and this and that. It's like, well, where's the heading switch? Well, it's over here, but it's, well, how do you turn on the autopilot? Well, it's over here. And how do you do alt hold? Well, over here. What's wrong with you people? Why didn't you just put all this together over here, like the way it's done in a Cessna or any other plane? Where are you people? This is too alien. And so dissatisfied with every aircraft. And then hopes were that like F-22 would be, super state-of-the-art Star Trek. And no, but it's this one. This is the first aircraft with a little bit of time. Most everything, it makes sense. So I really admire people that have gone on into aviation careers and military. Just, what they have to know on top of everything else. And can still get the job done. I would think that they're thrilled with stuff like this. Takes all that workload off. And as you see, it's just all screens. There's not crap everywhere like any other aircraft. It's just so simplified. Not a million buttons everywhere. And right now I look at this and I'm even like, couldn't they have hired a better UI guy? Although this is fantastic. Now it's like, you could have made this even more simple. Or critical fuel. Crash. But again, I like flying the Volo, but it leaves me dry. It's just, takes forever to go anywhere. But that was the point of that one. The Volo is supposed to be super slow. And it's cool if you're just operating in, a few miles worth of range, but anything beyond a few miles, it's just not practical at all. What time is it? Well, time for me to quit. It's working. It is definitely buggy, but we saw it work at least flawlessly, mostly once. If things aren't working for you, restart the thing. If it doesn't work again, restart the thing. At some point, it just seems to work. So, I love it, and I hope they continue to improve it. I don't know what prevents it from working with DirectX 12, and I hope they get that fixed for 2024. That was the cover art for earlier tonight's show. Going to the Stanley Hotel. The Shining Hotel. What is Kodak doing up there? Before they created the Stanley steamers, they, like I said earlier, they sold everything to Kodak. All the stuff, all their photography patents. So smart. Their whole family, smart. Patented the airbrush. Just amazing. Not just blessed with one fortune, but multiple fortunes. That's insane. Awesome. Awesome. All right, well, I don't know if I'll see you during the fly-in tomorrow or not. And I want to find another haunted location, and I'm not sure where to go yet. But I better get some bunk time in so I can get up and take care of all that and see you tomorrow. Have a good evening, folks.